In 1970, a 28-year-old student nurse named Donna received a large Raggedy Ann doll as a birthday gift from her mother. The doll was about 3 feet tall, with the classic red yarn hair, white apron, and stitched smile typical of Raggedy Ann dolls. Donna lived in a small apartment with her roommate, Angie, who was also a nurse. Donna placed the doll on her bed as a decorative item. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but within a few days, both Donna and Angie began noticing strange things. The doll would change positions when no one was home. Sometimes its legs would be crossed, sometimes its arms would be in a different pose, and at other times it would be found lying on its side or even in a completely different spot on the bed. The movements started small but gradually became more noticeable. The women would leave for work or classes and return to find the doll in a new position. They initially dismissed it as their imagination or perhaps one of them absent-mindedly moving it and forgetting. Soon, the activity escalated. Donna and Angie started finding small pieces of parchment paper on the floor with childlike handwriting that read messages such as, "Help me," "Help us." They were certain they did not own any parchment paper, nor did they have any pens or markers that could produce that kind of writing. The notes appeared in places where the doll had been sitting or near it. The doll also began moving to other rooms. One day it would be on Donna's bed, the next it would be found on the living room sofa or in a chair. The women grew increasingly unsettled but still tried to rationalize the events. One morning, Donna found a doll sitting on her bed with what appeared to be blood on its hands and chest area. The red stains looked fresh and disturbing. This incident pushed them to seek outside help. They contacted a psychic medium who conducted a séance in the apartment. During the session, the medium claimed to have made contact with the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins, who was around 7 years old. According to the medium, Annabelle had lived in the area many years earlier. She had been killed in a tragic accident. Some versions say she was found dead on the property where the apartment building now stood. The spirit said she felt lonely and asked for permission to stay with the nurses and inhabit the doll so she could be close to them. Feeling sympathy for what they believed was the spirit of a lost child, Donna and Angie agreed. They began treating the doll with kindness, talking to it occasionally and allowing it to stay as part of the household. After they accepted the spirit, the activity turned darker and more aggressive. The doll's movements became more frequent and deliberate. Notes continued to appear, but the tone grew more disturbing. The entity seemed fixated on Lou, Angie's fiancé, or in some accounts, Donna's boyfriend. Lou strongly disliked the doll from the beginning and repeatedly warned the women that something was wrong with it. One night, Lou had a terrifying experience. While sleeping on the couch, he woke up paralyzed and saw the Annabelle doll at the foot of the couch. It then allegedly attacked him, climbing up his body and choking or scratching him. When he finally regained control, he had fresh scratch marks on his chest. Some accounts describe 7 claw-like scratches. Another incident involved the doll causing physical harm or intense fear to the roommates. The women also reported hearing strange noises and feeling an oppressive presence in the apartment. Terrified, Donna and Angie reached out to the Episcopal Church for help. A priest named Father Hagen or similar was contacted and he, in turn, referred the case to Ed and Lorraine Warren, well-known paranormal investigators and demonologists at the time. The Warrens arrived and conducted their investigation. They quickly concluded that the entity was not the spirit of a little girl named Annabelle. Instead, they believed it was a demonic entity that had been manipulating the situation from the start. According to the Warrens, demons do not possess objects like dolls. They possess people. The demon had attached itself to the doll as a conduit to gain the women's sympathy and trust. By pretending to be a harmless child ghost, The entity tricked Donna and Angie into giving it permission and attention, which allowed it to grow stronger and eventually seek to possess one of the women, particularly Donna. The Warnings warned that the situation was extremely dangerous. A priest performed a blessing exorcism on the apartment to cleanse it. The Warrens take the doll. After the blessing, the Warrens agreed to take the doll with them so it could no longer harm the nurses. They placed Annabelle in the back seat of their car and began driving back to their home in Monroe, Connecticut. During the journey, they experienced serious car trouble. The vehicle's steering failed, the brakes acted erratically, and the engine kept stalling. Ed Warren sprinkled holy water on the doll, after which the problems temporarily stopped. They avoided highways and took back roads out of caution. Once they reached home, Ed placed the doll on his desk. Shortly afterward, strange things began happening in the Warren household. The doll was reportedly seen levitating above the desk on multiple occasions. It would also move from one location to another when no one was looking. Over the following weeks, the demonic activity continued. One particularly frightening event involved a young man who visited the Warrens and mocked the doll. He allegedly challenged it, saying something like, "If you're so powerful, why don't you do something later that night?" As he was driving home on his motorcycle, he lost control, crashed, and was seriously injured. Some versions say he died, but most accounts say he survived with severe injuries. The Warrens consulted several priests. They eventually concluded that the entity was too powerful to be fully exorcised from the doll. Instead, they decided to contain it. Ed Warren built a special wooden glass display case for the doll, inscribed with prayers and blessings. He placed it inside their occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut, alongside other allegedly haunted artifacts. A sign on the case warns visitors not to touch it or mock it. The Warrens and their successors, including Tony Sperry, have maintained that the doll remains active. They claim that people who have disrespected it or taken photos without permission have suffered accidents, illnesses, or other misfortunes afterward. They strongly advise against opening the case.